I put just online there because I'm good English.
You online.
Yes. What's the name of that special program for multiple FMOs? I don't know what special program
I
that
don't either.
is. John, I'm not sure what you're asking him there. The question is, what is the name of that special program for multiple FMOs? I don't know.
I don't either.
There's integrity, but that's not really a special program. That's just like an umbrella to share resources. And I'll talk about the integrity umbrella here at the end because there's a method of that madness, and I'll share that with you. It goes right along with the HCA hospitals and Kansas City and what they did. So I'll explain that at the end. But let's jump online real quick and talk about being online because your clients, they're online. And if you look at where people are getting their Medicare information, as you can see from that chart, the first little box area, which is, I guess I could do this. I mean, let's embrace technology. So this right here is when someone's aging into 65. So 3 months before 65. The top line is shopping online. The next line is friends and family. And the third line is direct mail. When I was in the field full time, it was direct mail and friends and family were pretty much neck and neck because not a lot of people were going online. But as the internet opened up, more and more websites emerged and more businesses went online and the government, i.e. Medicare, went online, that became the ultimate source of information. And it's true in the Medicare side. And they even went a year out. So this is 10 to 12 months past turning 65. It's still roughly the same numbers of I still go online and get my information. And part of the challenge today, which isn't represented here, is what happens when you Google something or go to Mozilla Firefox, as my IT friend said I should be using. You go to whatever Chrome or whatever browser you're using, and you type in Medicare and you start looking at Medicare. Well, you go to Facebook and all of a sudden you start seeing Medicare ads. You go to your inbox, whoever is doing your Hotmail, Gmail, whatever you're doing, and the first couple of emails be ads, and they'll all be Medicare, et cetera, et cetera. So, trying to think of a good example. I was trying, what was I buying recently? What wasn't I buying
Yeah, I was going
recently?
to say.
Oh, I think I was buying something for my camera. And, the next ad online was that. I was looking at a used lens and I opened my email and literally a second later I opened up my email and there's that place I went to, that website had an ad in my inbox already. So it's important to think about that. Yeah, that's cool that, they're monitoring me, yay, but they're also doing it to your clients and prospects who are looking at Medicare because they're shopping online and they know that and everyone's turning to that.
Yeah. Well, also you have to keep in mind that the people who are turning 65, they might not be the only ones that are looking for them. They might have their kids helping them or, a loved one that is under 65 that is a little more tech savvy. So also being online is, people aren't just shopping for themselves. There are other people that are helping their parents or their grandparents shop as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be like a smaller percentage probably what's happening, but those people are definitely online. So
yeah, my parents both have smartphones, both have iPhones. My in-laws both have iPhones. And they're all in their late 60s, early 70s, and they all have iPhones.
my granddad's 90 and almost 90. He just got a smartphone, but he has a smartphone. He was like, even he's this old farmer. His name's literally Billy Joe. Like he is a farmer from a tiny town. And even he was like, I should probably go get a smartphone. So,
well, you see some of the flip phone now and you're like, whoa. It's like seeing a Model T car. Like, whoa, is that from 1902? That's so awesome. It's unusual to see a phone that's not a smartphone, even the basic ones. But the point is, all your clients and prospects more than likely are online, even if they're not telling you they're online, because it's not like a normal part of the conversation. If you go into someone's house, it's like, hey, I'm online. You'd be like, yeah, no kidding. That's a big deal. So what? But let's start with we're going to talk about two things today, your website and social media. So your website is basically your digital resume. And, when I want to learn about a company, what do? You go to their website, you type their name in the search engine, you hit enter, and then hopefully their website pops up. So if your website's out of date, that's going to tell me that you're out of touch. Yeah. You don't care. You don't care about your reputation, your reputation online. You're not concerned about that. So either you're too busy, which means you might be too busy for me, or you just don't care.
Mhm.
And if I'm clicking through your website and you have bad links, that means, okay, they must not be in business anymore because they obviously spent the time and effort to put up a website 20 years ago. And it looks like they did 20 years ago, and those links don't work. And then one of the big links here is, the Medicare new book. Does it link to the 2021 version, or is it linked to the 2019 version you haven't updated in 2 years? So you need to pay attention to not only how your website looks, but click on all your links and see what your clients are saying.
Yeah, I think one big thing, and this also goes for, we'll talk about, I'm assuming talk about Facebook in a second, but one big thing about going online and starting to put your business kind of out there is if you're not going to keep up with it, then it's almost better for you to just not do it because it can reflect really poorly. You should be doing it, and it will take extra time, but also keep in mind this is something that your admin staff can be doing for you. This isn't something that you necessarily have to like take on as a whole task. Someone else in your office can, but just making sure that your website is up to date, it does make a big difference. It makes sure that you're paying attention, but also we should highlight the top one as well, because I think a lot of people, they go out, they spend the money to make their website, they're all excited about it, and they're like, well, where's the leads? Like no one's coming in. And your digital business card is a perfect way to explain it, where it's like you're not expecting a sale just because you hand someone your business card. That's the same way that a website works. It's just what do I do, who am I, and how can we get connected? Like how can we get started? How can we start this conversation? So keep that in mind whenever you're building and putting the effort into a website. It's worth it, but it's not going to necessarily be generating lots of leads.
I also can't send websites that have 9,000 pages on them.
Yes.
The point of your website is for someone to take action. Your job isn't to have a website to teach them about Medicare and all their options, all that. That can be the case, but you need to have it to where what's going to be, how do they take action, and what do you want the actionable process to be? Is it to contact you, drop you an email, or drop you a note such as a form? Do you want them to self-enroll through your website? Now, I would be very cautious of that.
Yeah.
But your website you have 5 pages. Homepage, about me, Medicare basics, maybe another page on options, and then contact me. And that should be it. Because the more pages you have, the more lost they can get, and the more confused they get, and the quicker they just bounce off of there.
For sure. Your call to action should definitely be to reach out to you, to call you, to email you, and your contact info should be on every single page. You want to keep it in front of them because that is the call to action. The conversation doesn't stop there, it starts there. And that's kind of how you get that push to get them. Just keep it in front of them. And it's the point of a website. Yeah, the point of a website is to get someone to take action. Amazon isn't there to teach you how to be a better consumer. They're there to sell you stuff. You go to Amazon, you type in what you want, and then you get it. And that's the thing about your website like that. Someone's on there, they need Medicare. Here's some options. Okay, I need to talk to somebody. Bam, that's your call to action. Now, John, you were asking about, I'm going to backtrack 1 second here for John. You saw about the FMOs and recruiting new agents. I was talking about the MedSub conference happening next month, and I'm saying that there will be some talk about that, but the conference itself is more for large scale. So it'd be more for like an FMO recruiting new agents or a carrier recruiting, new talent and stuff. So it's the MedSub conference. The agent day is very good, but the rest of the conference is very large scale based. So that's a MedSub conference in Schaumburg, the 8th, 9th, and 10th of next month. But we'll be there. So we'll be there as a Medicare Cafe and as senior marketing specialist. Now, part of your website should point to your social media. So when it comes to social media, and I know social media is, it's a time suck. It is, it takes a lot of time to not only time suck to go through it, but also to populate it. And the challenge there is, should you be doing it? The answer is yes, because that's where everyone is. Everyone's on social media, whether you love it, hate it, or anything, people on social media, and you need to be active on there. Because if you have bad info on there, if your social media isn't good, that tells me you're not going to be good to work with. If it's inconsistent, that tells me you're not really serious about your business. So when I'm looking to work with somebody and I go to their social media and it's horrible, that doesn't inspire me to take action. Or all the posts are from like 5 months ago and nothing has been updated since then. It's like, are you even in business still?
Yeah. Your social media should inspire, ooh, I want to work with this person, not, oh, this isn't good. because I've never walked in a store and thought, this place looks horrible. I can't wait to buy something. No, I turn around and I leave. Or like a restaurant, if I say, Sadie, you and your glorious husband should go eat at this restaurant. They have bad food and the service is horrible. You're going to be like, I'm not going there. No. Same with social media. Your social media is a reflection of you. So make sure it's reflecting properly of you. And start now. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But if you have been dropping the ball the past couple months or past year on social media, start populating it now, because most people don't exactly go, they don't scroll through your social media that far. They might scroll down a little bit and then call it and say, okay, that's good. So you can go to the next slide. Because you could actually backdate some of your posts. Now, this takes a little bit of time. If you're not going to start populating now, you could go to Facebook and backdate your posts. Now, you have to do it in the classic publishing tool. So again, it's a little bit of a process. It will take extra time. The path of least resistance right now is go to your social media, populate it. And every day until AEP, populate it, because you have a good, 40 days to AEP, that'll give you 40 posts. Or if you do it every other day, it gives you 20 plus posts. So when someone goes to your Facebook page and they start scrolling a little bit, and they'll probably stop after a couple of scrolls, they're gonna see it's all modern, up to date. And that's gonna be, ooh, this person's active, this person's in business, that inspires me to do business with them. If you wait until September or October 1st to start doing it, I'm gonna see October 1st, and then I'm gonna see January 1st. I'm like, ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's a huge break. Do they not work during that time? What happened? That does not inspire me to take action to contact you.
And the more posts they see, the more they get to know your personality, and the more they feel like they know you a little better, which might intrigue them to do business with you. They feel a little more comfortable, because if they're scrolling through their feed every day and they're seeing your post every day, or maybe you're doing Facebook lives, they actually are seeing you and hearing you. Facebook is sort of like used as a relationship building tool, or like a relationship building retention sort of tool.
Right.
And so also that in general, the more you're populating, the more posts you have, the more they feel like they're connecting with you and your business. And the tone of your post just helps with that sort of relationship, which might make them feel like they trust you a little more, and trust equals sales.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the know, like, trust factor. The more I know you, the more I like you, the more I trust you. And that's huge. So make sure that you have a valid social media page. And also, like we talked about before we started in the pre-chat, you talked about going that, what's it called, the Van Gogh thing?
Yeah, Beyond Van Gogh.
Beyond Van Gogh. As you do these team building exercises or interesting things, post that on your social media, because it makes you more human. If you're posting like a carrier, because go to a carrier's social media and it's very, very generic. Senior tips, cooking tips, all these little generic tips. There's no personality behind it. And that's where you shine from these large agencies and carriers, is that you have a personality that you can display, because it's you as one person or a small team. It's hard for United Healthcare to showcase people because they have 200,000 employees. They're not going to start showcasing people. You can do that though. So when I go to United Healthcare, not to pick on them, but they're huge, it's going to be very generic posts. When I go to yours and I see personality, that's going to inspire me. Ooh, I want to work with a human, not just some bot that's maybe posting all this. I'd rather work with somebody that has some personality and is interesting to work with. And ooh, they did that. That looks fun. Ooh, they have this interest. That's interesting to me too. That inspires me to work with that person. So do that. Yeah. And if you're saying, I don't want to do any of this, I don't want a website, I don't need one, I need to be on Facebook, there's no point. Well, now you're marketing the 80-year-olds, because none of them are on there too, unless you're, of course, your Sadie's grandpa. Yeah. Who's online, has a smartphone. But most Medicare beneficiaries are becoming tech savvy. Like Sadie said, her grandfather, what was his name?
Well, he goes by Joe, but his real name's Billy Joe.
Billy Joe.
Yeah, granddad.
Yep, granddad. He's got a smartphone. And this other side of this is that we're seeing across the board is families that are used to social media, teenagers, I mean, heck, a lot of kids in middle school are getting smartphones. Well, to connect with family, what do? You use smartphones, you text or social media for distant relatives. A lot of relatives are forcing their elderly parents and grandparents to technology, because I'm not going to print a picture of little Jimmy and send it over to grandma. No, you got to get on Facebook, because that's where we do everything. So they're forcing even the 80-plus-year-olds onto social media, onto the internet with laptops and smartphones, because they're not going to sit down and handwrite a letter and print stuff at Walmart or Walgreens and send it. They're going to say, go to Facebook. That's where we do it all.
Well, I was gonna say, if you are a little hesitant about going online, we suggest, as senior marketing specialists, we suggest that you start working with the Facebook page before you do a website, so you can kind of get a feel of what it's like to have to stay up to date with it. And Facebook is a lot easier. You don't have to, it's free for one,
Right.
so you don't have to, unless you start paying for like ad boost and all that sort of stuff. But that's kind of like Facebook 201.
Yes.
But it kind of gets a feel, like we said, it's free, and it kind of gets a feel of like what it's like to have to keep up with something online. Also, Facebook has a higher SEO, that's search engine optimization, which means that if you have a Facebook page and someone types something in, your page is your Facebook page is more likely to pop up as like one of the top results on Google, higher than your website would. So
Yes.
Starting off with the Facebook is a good way to kind of like dive into putting your business online.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're wondering, what do I need to do? Well, start now, at least bare minimal from now until forever, but now at least till AAP, start posting 3 times a week on your Facebook. And that will at least give some population, so when AAP hits, you're relevant. And also, the more you post, the more active Facebook's going to see you, and the higher you're going to turn up on that feed. Because if you have 1,000 friends on Facebook and half of them post daily, right? Let's say 500. Most people don't see 500 posts a day. We'll scroll for a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then we'll stop. So we might see, between friends and family posts and pages we like and advertisements, you might see maybe 100 posts. Well, that's 400 you didn't see. But the more active you are, the more you're going to work up those ranks of being higher up that someone's wall, or whatever they call it. So make sure you start now, so you start creeping up on analytics of Facebook. If you don't have anything to post, we do have that group, SMS Agent Connect. If you have an active contract with senior marketing specialists, you could grab information there. You could also just post stories. You could post selfies and say, hey, get ready for the annual enrollment period, take a picture of your desk with a bunch of materials out, as long as you're not showing benefits. But there's lots of stuff you could do to, one, not only post generic stuff, but I would definitely at least once a week post something that's your personality and makes you human.
For sure.
Because that's going to separate you from everyone else.
Yeah, it can be like recipes, or like he said earlier, hey, our team went to the Beyond Van Gogh. This would be a great activity for you to do with your grandchildren, or something like that. But also keep in mind that Facebook isn't a place for you to sell. It's just a place for you to sort of advertise and work with branding and work with like marketing and just getting yourself in front of people, name brand recognition. That's really what it is. It's not a place to sell. So also don't expect like a ton of sales to come in just because you started a Facebook page. That's another thing that people kind of get frustrated with, because they have the wrong expectations of a Facebook page. You should be posting, but don't try to make it to where you're like selling to the people. Just educate them and get your name in front of them. That's really what it is.
So treat Facebook like a dinner party, right? If you're at a dinner party, you're going to tell people what you do for a living. Yeah, I'm an insurance agent specialized in Medicare. Oh, interesting. Bob, you have a little conversation, and then that conversation is probably going to pivot to something else. What do you do on the weekends? Oh, I have this hobby. I have this hobby. We do this. My kids go here. Blah 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 blah. That's what your Facebook page should look like. So everyone knows what you do, but they also know a little bit about you. You don't want to be that person at the dinner party that always, if you go in there and say, hey, I sell Medicare. Do you have any grandparents on Medicare? Because I could really help them. Those people are like, whoa, back off. I'm here for fun and for entertainment, and you're over here selling, so I'm going to push you away because I don't want, great, nice talking to you. Bye-bye. If you're not posting at all, you're the awkward guy in the corner staring at everybody.
Which is me most of the time.
Yeah, which is Sadie. Staying in the corner, or my wife, just staying in the corner, not saying anything, just watching. And that's going to be awkward.
Yeah.
So be that person that everyone knows what you do, but also knows a little bit more about you. Do you have an interesting hobby? Do you garden? Do you love cooking? Do you love, do you ride motorcycles? Do you do paintball? Do you do extreme ironing? I don't know what you do for your free time, but your clients should, and that's a perfect place to do that.
But also every once in a while, hey, by the way, do you have dental coverage? You know what I mean? Like, still, it's still a business page, so you still want to add that in there, but don't get it twisted. It's not something where you're you're going to be getting a ton of sales from necessarily.
Yes, like Brian said, Sadie is a singer that never tells anybody that, although she does an excellent job because I've seen her sing many times. Update on your website, so make sure all your links are working. There's a clear call to action, and it's modern. So if your website looks like it was made on a CompuServe computer, if you know what I'm talking about, because I'm showing my age, that's okay. It should look modern. It should be clean. It doesn't have to be elaborate. I've seen lots of professional websites that were basically one page, and like you click here and it scrolls down. You don't need anything fancy because your job with your website isn't to educate the prospect or client. It's for them to take action. And when you start thinking like that, you're going to remove the 16 pages you have explaining about Medicare that no one's ever been to. You're going to look at what's my clear call to action. And if you're savvy, you could actually see where everyone's looking on your website. There are programs, a lot of these companies that sell, these website creating services. You can look at the back analytics and you can see where everyone's going. You may have a page no one's ever seen, so why have it on there? So streamline your website,
Or
make it
change
clean, or change it to something.
Maybe it's too like wordy. Maybe there's too many words on there. Maybe it's like
that's your bounce rate.
A bunch of like useless stuff on there. Maybe just clean it up, change it up a little bit, and see then if it gets some traction.
Yes, Brian, thank you. So, but make sure that, watch your bounce rate. Your bounce rate is how quickly someone leaves your site. So the higher your bounce rate, that means people look at your site and go, oh, nope, just kidding, and they get right back off. If you have a high bounce rate, guess who sees that? Google, everyone. And they can see, okay, this website, a lot of people going to and leaving quickly, we're going to push them down in the ranks because we don't want our search engine associated with bad websites. So if you're wondering why people show up higher in search engine optimization, because they have websites that people are going to and staying at, and Google sees everything. Like they can actually watch where your cursor goes on your screen on the website.
Really?
I think maybe not that elaborate.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean they probably know what you're saying right now. Well, we're also recording,
Probably.
So it's.
Hey,
I think they could do that. There's something they could do that I thought was really fascinating, but I don't think it was a mouse cursor, but I think it was something along those lines. It's scary. But if you want further stuff on this and AEP in general, we do have our boot camps coming up. If you go to smsteam.net, click on events, August 31st, September 1st, September 2nd, from 10 to 12. You only have to go to one. Each one's the same. So if you register for the 31st, you don't have to come to the 1st and 2nd. They're 2 hours long. They're small. I think we cap out at 30 people per session. And it's going to be more like a Zoom call where you could have your webcam going. If you have a question, rather than type it in, you could have, you could speak it, or there'll still be a chat feature too if you'd rather just chat. So it's designed to be much more personal.
Yeah, a lot more interactive.
Yes.
Because I think everybody's a little like, okay, it's been over a year of us having to do everything on Zoom. There's been lots of webinars. We crave that interaction, but we just can't have that right now with the rise of Delta variant. So this kind of gives us a little bit more of that personal feel, and we can all talk as a small group and interact, and it'll be really, really nice. And that is with Mike and Olivia mainly, and then I might be on there a little bit, but it'll be awesome.
We like you there.
Okay, I'll join.
You can sing in the background. You could be the music.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a brief musical interlude. Sadie?
Yeah. But these have been great success in the past. People love these. And so if you're new to the Medicare Cafe scene or SMS scene, definitely get registered for these. There are still spaces left. So we would love for you guys to join and hang out with us and learn a little bit.
I'm going to show you. Someone asked what's the agenda for that thing. I'm glad you asked because I'm going to show you. I'm just going to go to smsteam.net. Steam. Why is it not coming up? There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Give me a second here.
Look at that SEO right there.
I know. Mind you, I typed in City Marketing Specialist. But so there's our website. When you go to this illustrious place, you're going to want to click on events. Dun, 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 dun. You click on events and you're going to scroll down to August 31st. Interactive Virtual AEP Bootcamp. Ooh, that sounds fancy. So there's 3 options. You can click to register, but here's the basics of what we'll be talking about. We'll be work on your clientele base, old leads, new leads, enrollments, compliance, marketing. And plus, if there's a topic that we're not talking about and you're like, I want to talk about this, because it's smaller, you could ask. You could say, hey, I want to know what I do if it's raining, should I be door knocking? Great question. We'll talk about that too. We don't care. You tell us. So Jerry, there you go. We've done these every year. So we're just doing a truncated version. Last year we did a 2-day one, and this year we're trimming it down. And of course, we'll have lots of resources and such. Don't forget also, when you go to smsteam.net to check out our AP toolkit. Lots of resources there. There are marketing materials you can already download and personalize. All your certification links are in there. That's kind of like AEP and on one simple page. So
sure.
Check that out.
Everyone in our office has this bookmarked basically because we are constantly using it. It's being updated literally every single day. And so it's a really excellent resource. We use it a ton in-house, but also use it, have it there, have it bookmarked, have it there during AEP. It will save you a lot of time.
Yes, and if you are, and someone asked, what's that Schomburg thing? Well, I'll show you. National, oh, I can't type. National, you can never type when someone's watching. National Weather Service, so you see what we look at all the time. National Medicare Supplement Conference. There we go. So if you go here, MedicareSup.org, here's the conference I was talking about, Deborah. It is bigger and better because it didn't happen last year, so it has to be bigger and better. But there it is. It's September 8th through 10th in Chicago, Illinois. You can attend in person. There you go. There's your free program for agents. If you're in the Chicagoland area, it is in Schaumburg. So if you're downtown, it's going to be an hour drive. You can attend in person, 100% free to attend from 8 to 3. And guess what? You'll be able to see me and Olivia in person. How great would that be? If you think we're obnoxious online, wait till you meet us in person. We crank it to 11. But yes, we'll be there. So we'll make your senior marketing specialist. And that's what I'm saying. Is it worth you as an agent to attend the whole thing? I think you could get an idea of the whole thing just on that day, because that day is designed for individual agents. The rest of it's more for, again, more for FMO, more for carriers, more for people that work with carriers and FMOs direct, not so much agents and agencies. So now, so that's the thing in Schaumburg. Someone asked about Medicare Center. Medicare Center that's the tool that we have here. And that's CRM/enrollment tool. So check that out here. I know it's Olivia does trainings on those all the time.
Actually, this Friday, if you're interested in that, you can get registered on that same events page up here in the corner right here. You can get registered for that, and Olivia does a whole walk.
A little song right there. You tease.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get registered for that. She does a whole walkthrough of Medicare Center. It's a very awesome tool, very cool tool.
So yeah, I would say if you're in the Chicagoland area, that's worth attending. That's worth attending. Maybe you meet some of your local reps, or maybe you talk to some carriers that you already represent and kind of shake their hand and meet them face to face. Meet some, if you belong to some FMOs, i.e. senior marketing specialists will be there. I know Matt Carson will be there. Is either Matt McVeigh or Josh Kersey, one of those two will be there. I forget which ones. But yeah, so we'll have a small team there as well. You can network with other agents. I would say one thing I would recommend doing that could really be a game changer is networking with other agents in your area. Know your competition, because you may have a client that you hate, and I've done this, and I was full disclosure with the other one. I'm like, hey, I got this client, a little high maintenance. I can't get to them. You want them? Yeah, because I'm desperate for business. Great, take them. I've done that before. Or maybe they have a need that you can't facilitate, that someone else can. Maybe you just want to BS about the market. I mean, that's no better person to talk about Medicare. Someone does Medicare, because I promise you, most people in your life, when you want to talk, shop talk about Medicare and the market, they're not going to want to talk to you. I know it's incredible to realize you're not the life of the party talking about Medicare, but you're not. I realized that the hard way. So It's a great place to, again, network with other agents in your market, or not even your market. You could always, have phone conversations and coffee over the phone. So check that out. That's part of the secret to my success, though, was I would say at least, I remember almost every Thursday, I'd meet with three other agents, and we go to Panera, and we would just, swap stories. I had this crazy appointment, I had this crazy, have you seen this product? No, blah, 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 blah. And it's just nice to talk to somebody. And it's nice to have that friendly competition. So check that out. Again, there's a free day for agents if you want to register. It's very easy to register. You just do it all online. There you go. Get your pass and you could do it. So no cost access pass, 135 spaces. Look at that. Plus there'll be giveaways. You may walk out with some cool gifts. So definitely check that out. And if you are going, let us know. We'd love to see you there. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to attend that thing on the agent free day, let us know. We'll be happy to shake your hand or awkwardly give you a hug. So let's do that. Oh, not to me. You got to read that. I'm not going to read it because it's not to me. So I'm not even read it, Deborah. I'll show you.
Let me read it before I read it out loud. I've made that mistake before.
Thought you had some work done. So I'll read it because, no, go ahead. You read it. It's to you. Okay. No, it's to you. I'm not going to do it.
To not Mike. I thought you were Olivia, though looked a little different than I remember. Wondered if you had some work done. What is your name?
What's your name, Sadie?
Sadie.
There you go.